Pluto had it coming from the beginning. It was never really belong. Pluto's orbit crosses that of another planet. That's no kind of behavior for a planet.
On Pluto, geology was active. We were astounded when we viewed these pictures. A world so far from the sun ought to be a frigid, lifeless place. With an open mind, we planned to gather data sets to see what was present. Pluto is concealing something that has scientists in a panic and making them reevaluate what they believe to be true. Under the frosty surface of the James Webb telescope, declassified images have shown startling intricacies. Who knows what else might be hiding under that icy shell? Let's explore this finding that will permanently alter the search for extraterrestrial life. Something huge is hidden by the frozen heart. The idea that Sputnik Planitia, Pluto's well-known heart-shaped glacier, might be perched on a secret ocean was one of the most astounding discoveries. This is a nitrogen glacier that covers more than 1 million square miles, so it's not just any ice field. Researchers believe there is a sizable reservoir of liquid water behind this thick coating of frozen nitrogen. Pluto has been confounding predictions for billions of years, if this is accurate. The New Horizons mission's lead investigator, Allan Stern, thinks this could be the first hint that life could exist in the most unlikely places in the cosmos. Before we get into this, it's obvious that Pluto's frozen core conceals something far more amazing than anyone could have imagined. You won't be able to speak after this discovery, either. The surface of Pluto reveals a tale of activity that no one had predicted. It is very lively for such a small and remote world. Massive mountain ranges composed of solid water ice can reach heights of 4 miles, matching the highest peaks on the planet. However, what's even the smoothness of areas of Pluto's surface is even more strange. For example, the craters we would anticipate from billions of years of asteroid collisions are absent from Sputnik Planitia. On the contrary, it is covered with odd polygonal patterns that suggest convection. Here, the ice moves and churns, resembling a lava lamp, due to heat from below. The source of heat? Perhaps when Pluto's core decays, radioactive materials break down, providing just enough heat to prevent the ocean below from freezing solid. And scientists are perplexed by more than just the heart-shaped glacier. The enormous weight of the ice on Sputnik Planitia appears to have caused Pluto's entire orientation to change. The glacier now lines up with Charon, Pluto's largest moon, suggesting an intriguing gravitational dance between the two bodies. The concept of an interior ocean is further supported by the faults and fissures that run the length of Pluto's surface. These features are consistent with the planet's crust flexing and shifting over a liquid layer. Is life possible in this cold world? The intriguing topic of whether life exists on this far-off, frozen world is brought up by the prospect of an ocean on Pluto. Renowned physicist Brian Cox speculates that life may not be long behind if there is water. Any possible life forms might be shielded from intense cosmic radiation and extremely high surface temperatures by the ocean's liquid condition, which is shielded by a thick layer of ice. Despite his caution, Cox admits that the finding of even the most basic microbial life would be revolutionary. The goal is to demonstrate that life can exist in circumstances very different from Earth, not to discover complicated animals. It is still difficult to demonstrate that Pluto has an ocean, despite all of this strong evidence. During its approach, New Horizons only took detailed pictures of roughly 40% of Pluto's surface, giving only a glimpse of the planet. The rest is still unknown and awaits further exploration to reveal its mysteries. The Pluto Orbiter, a follow-up project that may spend years thoroughly examining the dwarf planet, is already being promoted by Allan Stern and his team. The existence of this secret ocean and its possible implications for life could be verified by such a mission. A finding that may change the solar system. The hypothesis that Pluto may have a subterranean ocean is changing our understanding of the entire solar system, not just this one dwarf planet. Where else may we discover water and life if an ocean can survive here, in one of the coldest, most remote locations on Earth? Other icy worlds with indications of subsurface oceans, such as Jupiter and Saturn's moons Europa and Enceladus, are already being studied by scientists. These results raise the possibility that subterranean oceans are significantly more prevalent in the universe than we previously thought. We wonder where life might be on Pluto because of its ice surface and hidden ocean, but could its fiery beginnings point to something even more unexpected? A bold beginning that transformed Pluto. The ramifications are huge for eternity. Oceans are essential to life as we know it, and the more locations we discover with them, the more likely it is that life is present elsewhere. The limits of the habitable zone, the area surrounding a star where conditions can support life, have had to be reconsidered by scientists in light of Pluto's possible ocean. It was once believed that this zone ended well before Pluto's orbit, but it now appears that life may be able to endure considerably farther out, shielded by massive ice layers. However, how did the ocean on Pluto form? It was once thought by scientists that Pluto evolved gradually over millions of years, accumulating rock and ice. Pluto would have become frigid and lifeless as a result of this slow process. Recent research, however, points to a different narrative. Massive impacts may have produced enough heat during Pluto's rapid and violent formation to form a liquid ocean, which has since been sustained by radioactive decay. Everything we believe to be true about the formation and evolution of frozen worlds is called into question by this hot start notion. Pluto's ocean may have existed for billions of years, long enough for life to arise, if it did have a hot start. Pluto is not alone, either. There may be hidden oceans on other minor planets in the Kuiper Belt, such as Mi'kmaq and Haumea. Given that these far-off worlds might have the answers to the universe's origins of life, this opens up a whole new field of investigation. Exploring Pluto and its neighbors is no easy task, despite the thrill. Even though the New Horizons spacecraft only spent a few hours collecting data during its flyby, it took almost 10 years to reach Pluto. Even longer, possibly more than 27 years, and requiring major technological breakthroughs would be a dedicated orbiter mission, from creating power sources that can endure for decades to engineering spaceships that can withstand the extreme circumstances. The hurdles are enormous. Another obstacle is the price. For a single planet, a mission such as the proposed Pluto orbiter would probably cost more than $3 billion. However, the prospective findings make it worth every cent for many scientists. The opportunity to thoroughly examine Pluto's ocean, geology, and atmosphere could revolutionize our knowledge of the solar system and our role within it. Scientists are still examining the data from New Horizons as we await the next trip to Pluto. Each new piece of information completes the puzzle, exposing a world far more vibrant and complicated than anyone could have ever dreamed. The tale of Pluto serves as a reminder that the greatest shocks can be found in the most obscure and unnoticed locations. Pluto has demonstrated that it is a world worth researching, whether it be an ocean beneath the ice or evidence of prehistoric geological activity. The finding of a potential ocean on Pluto ultimately concerns more than a single far-off planet. It's about broadening our perspectives and questioning our presumptions about the possible locations of existence. It's about finding wonder in the most unlikely places and seeing past the obvious. Despite its little size, Pluto has had a huge impact on science, and its mysteries are only now being discovered. The discovery that Pluto has an ocean changes our perception of far-off planets and moons and opens up the possibility of life far beyond what first appeared to be realistic. The discovery of life on Pluto would revolutionize the hunt for extraterrestrial life, even if it is really easy. The hypothesis of an active Pluto with a secret ocean is becoming more plausible as scientists continue to collect evidence. These discoveries have transformed the icy, far-off dwarf planet from a frozen rock in the Kuiper Belt into a site of amazement, promise, and a reminder of the universe's limitless surprises. Although Pluto has shown us incredible things, the solar system as a whole is full of surprises that alter our perception of space. Exploration of our solar system, from the moon to the frontier of space, has been an exciting journey filled with discoveries, victories, and lessons that have changed our perspective on the cosmos. Finding out where we come from, what's out there, and perhaps even who or what might be sharing this cosmic playground with us is more important than simply learning about planets and moons. The stars have a way of beckoning to us and challenging us to go higher, since humans have always been inquisitive. Let's examine this investigation in greater detail and discover why it is so significant. It began when space became the most popular issue in the globe in the 1950s and 1960s. The first major objective was the Moon, which was both reachable and distant enough to seem like a different planet. The early attention was taken by the Soviet Union's Luna missions. In 1959, Luna 2 became the first man-made object to make contact with the Moon when it crashed into it. The far side of the Moon, which no human had ever seen, was photographed by Luna 3 a year later. That was not taken lightly by the United States. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were sent to the Moon by the Apollo program in 1969, demonstrating to the world what they were capable when they set their sights high, but they weren't done yet. Since it's difficult to ignore a planet that may have had or may yet have life, Mars became the next focus. NASA's Mariner 4 conducted the first thorough examination in 1965, returning pictures that crushed dreams of verdant Martian woodlands. It resembled a vast desert and was dusty and desolate. We persisted, nevertheless. When the Viking missions landed on the Martian surface in the 1970s, they looked for any sign of life. As a spoiler, they found very nothing. By taking photos and making discoveries, rovers like Spirit, Opportunity, and Curiosity began to make Mars seem almost familiar in the 21st century. Next came Perseverance in 2021, a rover whose sole task was to collect samples and store them until a person arrived to retrieve them. Though it's more of a warning story, Venus also received a considerable amount of attention. Imagine a planet where the air is essentially poisoned and the temperature is high enough to melt lead. Venus is that planet. Venera 7 was successfully landed there by the Soviets in 1970, however it did not survive long in those terrible conditions. In the 1990s, NASA's Magellan mission used a different approach, using radar to survey the surface from orbit. The outcome? A deeper look at the harshest volcanic terrain on the planet Venus. Then there are Jupiter and Saturn, the gas giants. These two resemble the rock stars of the solar system. NASA's Pioneer 10 became the first spacecraft to pass Jupiter in the 1970s, and the renowned Voyager missions provided us with data and photographs that left us in awe. Galileo, which orbited Jupiter from 1995 to 2003, went one step further by revealing its moons in breathtaking detail, including the lava-spewing volcanoes of Io and the frozen crust of Europa that concealed the potential ocean. Amazing. Not to be overlooked is Saturn. We will never look at Saturn's rings the same way again thanks to the Cassini expedition, which spent more than 10 years orbiting the planet. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, was even visited by the probe Huygens, which revealed a methane-based world with lakes and rivers. Neptune and Uranus, two ice giants farther away, received less affection than their more intimate brothers. In the 1980s, Voyager 2 provided us with our only close-up view of these far-off worlds. Even these distant worlds need a second study, according to the data it returned. Triton, the moon of Neptune, may be one of the coldest yet most fascinating planets in the solar system, while Uranus has a very strange magnetic field. Let's also discuss asteroids and comets while we're talking about non-planets. These tiny yet important artifacts provide insight into the origins of our solar system. Japan's Hayabusa missions returned samples from Itakoa, and NASA's Near Shoemaker made a landing on the asteroid Eros in 2001. Ryugu, 2. In the meantime, OSIRIS-RX gained notoriety for capturing fragments of Bennu, an asteroid that had a remote possibility of striking Earth. Comets have also been fascinating. Do you recall the Rosetta mission of the European Space Agency? It dropped the Philae lander on the surface of a comet in addition to orbiting it. We learned a lot about these frosty passengers from the expedition, even if the lander bounced around and wound up in a shadowy area. However, the true star of our solar system is the Sun. It is closer than we ever imagined thanks to missions like the Parker Solar Probe. The spacecraft, which was launched in 2018, is enduring intense heat in order to investigate solar winds and other phenomena that have an immediate effect on Earth. Since 1995, NASA and the European Space Agency have been monitoring the Sun with SOHO, which provides us with continuous information on solar storms and flares. The search for life, actual extraterrestrial life, comes next. We're looking at locations like Jupiter's moon Europa, where there may be a secret ocean where something could be swimming in the dark. NASA's Europa Clipper will explore this icy world when it launches in the near future. Ganymede, one of Jupiter's other moons, may also have a salty ocean beneath its surface, and ESA's JUICE mission is already its route to investigate it. These missions aim to solve the age-old question of whether we are alone, not only to detect bacteria. Exploration by humans is also intensifying. The goal of the Artemis program is to bring people back to the moon, not simply to visit, but to remain there and use it as a base from which to launch to Mars. By advancing the notion that humans may one day be a multiplanetary species and opening the door for future space missions, SpaceX is creating waves with its aspirations for interplanetary travel. The bottom line? Data collection is only one aspect of exploring our solar system. Another is pushing limits and having larger dreams. Every expedition and every finding points to a time when people may not only survive on Earth, but also flourish on other planets. The journey is far from finished. How far we're willing to go is the question, not if we'll keep investigating. Mars rovers have discovered unexpected facts about the red planet in the ongoing quest for answers about space. Mars rovers are robotic explorers that have been rolling around the rocky, dusty surface of Mars for decades in search of the truth. Scientists have used these amazing tools to piece together the history of Mars, including how it may have appeared millions of years ago and how it changed to become the planet we know today. As you can see, a few of these robots have traveled to Mars over the years, each one equipped with gear to find new information about the red planet. Let's discuss Sojourner. NASA's first successful attempt to operate a robot on Mars was this small rover. On July 4, 1997, Sojourner landed in a location known as Ares Vallis. Sojourner's mission was to gather some basic data about Mars and assess the viability of this type of technology. It was small and light, with only 6 wheels. In order to examine Martian rocks and soil, it carried an X-ray spectrometer and a camera. Sojourner astonished everyone by remaining active for 83 days, even though it was only supposed to survive 7 days. It gave us unprecedented views of Mars and returned images and data that set the stage for future missions. After several years, we have Spirit and Opportunity. These 2 rovers landed on different sides of the planet in 2004 as part of NASA's Mars Exploration Rover mission. Opportunity landed in the broad plains of Meridiani Planum, while Spirit landed in Gusev Crater. Despite the fact that these rovers were only supposed to be on duty for 90 days, the little robots refused to give up. Opportunity persevered until 2018, setting records for Mars endurance, and Spirit continued to roll until 2010. They also discovered evidence of ancient lakes and minerals that form in water, which might change the game. This was significant because it suggested that Mars was not always the desolate, arid planet that we observe today. Curiosity followed in 2012. Because it was larger and equipped with more sophisticated scientific equipment, this rover was in a class by itself. Gale Crater, where Curiosity landed, was thought to have had a wet history by scientists. Since then, Curiosity has continued its exploration, finding further proof that freshwater lakes and even organic molecules existed on Mars. These compounds are significant because they may indicate that Mars formerly supported life, even if it was limited to microscopic organisms. The discoveries made by Curiosity have changed our understanding of Mars, and the spacecraft is still exploring the planet today, boring into rocks and scaling slopes. Next is Perseverance, which touched down at Jezero Crater in 2021. The main goal of this rover's mission is to find evidence of ancient life. It involves gathering rock samples that may one day be returned to Earth for further examination. Not to mention Ingenuity, the little helicopter that joined the journey. It's incredible to consider that Ingenuity made history by being the first aircraft to fly on another planet. Perseverance is still working to better understand Mars's watery past and what might have lived there by investigating what was once a river delta. However, NASA is not the only agency taking action on Mars. In 2021, China's space agency entered the fray with the Zhurong rover. Zhurong touched down on the vast Martian plain known as Utopia Planitia. China became the second nation to successfully operate a rover on Mars, which was a significant milestone. Zhurong's mission has involved employing ground-penetrating radar to examine the planet's surface as well as its interior. The information it's gathering helps scientists compare discoveries from various regions of the planet and adds even more pieces to the puzzle of Mars. Every rover mission has advanced our understanding of Mars by building on the work of its predecessors. These robotic explorers have played a crucial role in everything from the discovery of minerals connected to water to the identification of ancient lake traces and indications that the planet may have once been home to life. Additionally, they are laying the groundwork for the possibility of human landings on Mars in the future. We now have a better grasp of Mars and the possibility of extraterrestrial life because of the work they have done and are still doing. Let's face it, though, reaching Mars is not simple. Each mission involves a risk. The technology needs to function flawlessly over millions of miles, and the stakes are tremendous. Imagine what it would take to launch a rocket, travel across space for months, and then arrive on a planet with a barely perceptible atmosphere. It's understandable why so many attempts fall flat. However, the rewards are huge when it succeeds. Every successful mission shows us what is possible for humans when we push the boundaries of what is thought to be achievable, in addition to teaching us more about Mars. Therefore, the history of the Mars rovers is far from over as Perseverance continues to drill and gather samples while Curiosity continues its journey. Who knows what these robotic adventurers of the future will discover? These rovers are spearheading the effort to unearth Mars' secrets, one dusty mile at a time, because the planet isn't willing to give them up easily. Could life exist in unexpected locations if Pluto has a hidden ocean? Or does this finding suggest something more sinister? Please share your thoughts with us, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.